Welcome to Organic Computer. In this video, we delve into the intriguing world of conspiracy theories. While many theories are based on speculation, some have proven to be disturbingly accurate. We'll explore conspiracy theories that initially seemed far-fetched but eventually turned out to be true. From covert government operations to hidden agendas, these cases show that sometimes the truth really is stranger than fiction. Operation Northwoods was a proposed plan by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Joint Chiefs of Staff in 1962, during the height of the Cold War. The plan was intended to justify military intervention in Cuba by staging fake attacks on U.S. soil, including hijackings and bombings, and blaming them on the Cuban government. The proposed operations included sinking a boatload of Cuban refugees and simulating Cuban attacks on U.S. military bases. The plan was presented to President John F. Kennedy, but he rejected it outright, fearing the repercussions of deceiving the American public and the international community. The details of Operation Northwoods remained classified until the 1990s, when the documents were released under the Freedom of Information Act. The revelation of this plot stunned the public and fueled suspicions about the extent of government deception in national security matters. The Tuskegee Syphilis Study, conducted by the U.S. Public Health Service from 1932 to 1972, is a stark example of unethical medical experimentation. The study involved 600 African American men, 399 of whom had syphilis. The men were told they were receiving free health care, but they were never informed of their diagnosis nor treated for syphilis, even after penicillin became the recommended treatment in 1947. The purpose of the study was to observe the natural progression of the disease, which led to unnecessary suffering and death for many participants. The study was exposed in 1972 when a whistleblower leaked information to the press. This led to public outrage, a lawsuit, and ultimately, a formal apology from the U.S. government in 1997. The incident highlighted the racial inequalities and ethical breaches in medical research, leading to significant changes in research ethics and informed consent laws. MKUltra was a CIA program that started in the early 1950s and aimed to develop mind control techniques for potential use against Soviet spies during the Cold War. The program involved administering LSD and other psychoactive drugs to unwitting subjects, including American and Canadian citizens. Experiments took place in universities, hospitals, and even prisons, with devastating psychological effects on many participants. In his book, Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s, journalist Tom O'Neill explores the possible links between Manson and MKUltra, including evidence that Manson was exposed to mind-altering drugs while under the supervision of individuals connected to the CIA. Although there is no definitive proof that Manson was a subject of MKUltra, the possibility remains a topic of intense debate and speculation. Another possible MKUltra subject was Ted Kaczynski, also known as the Unabomber. As an undergraduate at Harvard University, Kaczynski participated in a series of psychological studies run by Dr. Henry Murray, a noted psychologist who was indirectly associated with MKUltra research. The study involved extensive interrogation and psychological abuse, which some believe may have contributed to Kaczynski's later development as a domestic terrorist. This case illustrates the potential long-term impact of unethical psychological experiments conducted under the guise of academic research. The existence of MKUltra was revealed during the 1970s through congressional hearings, after investigative journalist Seymour Hersh exposed the CIA's domestic spying activities. The hearings led to the exposure of numerous unethical and illegal activities carried out under the guise of national security. The program's discovery shocked the public and led to new regulations and oversight of intelligence activities. The damage caused by MKUltra continues to haunt its victims, many of whom suffered lifelong psychological trauma. The Iran-Contra Affair was a political scandal in the U.S. that came to light in the mid-1980s. Senior officials in the Reagan administration secretly facilitated the sale of arms to Iran, which was under an arms embargo. The profits from these sales were then diverted to fund Contra rebels in Nicaragua, despite a congressional ban on such funding. The scheme was exposed in 1986, leading to multiple investigations and the conviction of several government officials. The scandal highlighted the risks of secret government operations and the abuse of executive power. It also raised questions about the accountability of elected officials and their ability to bypass congressional authority. Despite the convictions, most of the officials involved were later pardoned, underscoring the complexities of political accountability in the U.S. legal system. COINTELPRO, short for Counterintelligence Program, was an FBI initiative aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, and disrupting domestic political organizations deemed subversive. Targeted groups included civil rights organizations, feminist groups, and anti-war activists. One of the most infamous aspects of COINTELPRO was its surveillance and harassment of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., including attempts to discredit him by exposing his personal life. The extent of COINTELPRO's activities was revealed in 1971 when a group of activists broke into an FBI office and leaked documents to the press. This exposure led to significant public backlash and the subsequent formation of the Church Committee, which investigated abuses by U.S. intelligence agencies and led to reforms in surveillance practices. The Watergate scandal began with a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate Office Complex in 1972. Investigations revealed that the break-in was part of a larger campaign of political espionage and sabotage orchestrated by the Nixon administration against its perceived enemies. The scandal eventually led to the resignation of President Richard Nixon in 1974, the only U.S. president to resign from office. The scandal exposed widespread corruption and abuse of power at the highest levels of government, including attempts to cover up the administration's involvement. The Watergate scandal had a profound impact on American politics, leading to a greater skepticism of government officials and prompting legislative reforms aimed at increasing transparency and accountability. The Gulf of Tonkin incident, which occurred in 1964, involved alleged attacks on U.S. naval vessels by North Vietnamese forces. These incidents were used to justify increased U.S. military involvement in Vietnam. However, declassified documents revealed that the second attack likely never happened, and the incident was used as a pretext to gain public support for the Vietnam War. The Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, passed by Congress, gave President Lyndon B. Johnson broad powers to escalate U.S. military involvement in Southeast Asia. The revelation that the incident was misrepresented to the American public led to widespread distrust of the government and contributed to the anti-war movement in the U.S. It remains a prime example of how misinformation can be used to manipulate public opinion and foreign policy. These cases demonstrate that while many conspiracy theories remain speculative or false, some are rooted in truth. They serve as a reminder to remain vigilant and critical of the information we receive. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of history and hidden truths.